I think Dillian Whyte would be the perfect guy to knock the hell out. He fought a taxi cab driver on his American debut that no one really cared about. I think this would be an awesome fight for me and Dillian to headline in April. I see me knocking Dillian Whyte out in 4 to 5 rounds. I think the eliminator would be one of us fight either Deontay or Anthony Joshua right after that. Definitely after that, I should be in the mandatory position. There's no ifs and no buts about it. Those are the words of Big Baby, Jarrell Miller, talking about facing off against Dillian Whyte. He's keen. He hopes, he seemed to suggest there that him against Dillian Whyte will be some type of eliminator for one of the heavyweight championship belts, world titles. I don't see why not. Dillian Whyte is in the #1 position with the WBC. Actually, let me just rewind that. I do see a reason why not, to be fair. Dillian Whyte is #1 with the WBC. Jarrell Miller is not ranked by the WBC. Some people have been asking the question, why is Jarrell Miller not ranked? Because Jarrell Miller has not enrolled in the CBP, the Clean Boxing Program. And that is mandatory to get ranked with the WBC. You have to enroll in a Clean Boxing Program, which is a program in conjunction with VADA, the voluntary anti-doping agency that the WBC have, whereby in order to be ranked by them, you have to sign up for this VADA testing, which is random, in competition and out of competition drug testing. And they pay for it, by the way. The WBC pay for it. So, I mean, I guess it comes from the sanctioning fees, you know, that they charge. So I don't want to say it's free, but still, they handle that whole situation, and you have to agree to get ranked by them. Jarrell Miller hasn't done so, so he's not ranked. People are going to ask questions about that. Why is Jarrell Miller not signed up with a Clean Boxing Program? Dillian Whyte is, obviously, and that's why he's ranked by them. He's at #1. Is it reasonable for Dillian Whyte to forget about his #1 position with the WBC and go and fight Jarrell Miller, potentially lose and miss his chance at getting a heavyweight title shot? Is that reasonable? Is that sensible? What do you think? I don't know where Dillian Whyte is ranked with the other sanctioning bodies, but I'm sure he's not a #1 in any of the other sanctioning bodies. But you know how boxing is, you know how the politics of boxing is. Perhaps the IBF or one of the other sanctioning bodies could pull some questionable move where they put Dillian Whyte and Jarrell Miller in the ring together as a final eliminator, and the winner gets a guaranteed shot at, you know, one of the other titles for the other sanctioning bodies like the IBF, the WBA, WBO, etc. Could that happen? Will it happen? I don't know. That's what Jarrell Miller would like to happen anyway. But as far as how the fight would play out and who would win, what do you guys think? I know I've asked you this question before, but your opinion might have changed after the last 2 fights of these respective fighters. Dillian Whyte had a 12-round unanimous decision over Robert Helenius, and Jarrell Miller had that stoppage win over Mariusz Wach. A lot of people were not impressed by Jarrell Miller against Wach. I personally was. I thought he looked good. I thought he looked better than he did against Gerald Washington, even though Miller himself actually preferred his performance against Washington. I think it was a case of Miller not understanding that it wasn't him performing better. This is just my view. It wasn't him performing better against Washington. It was the fact that Mariusz Wach was a more stubborn opponent than Gerald Washington. That's why maybe he got hit with a few more shots than he wanted to get hit with. Maybe it was physically a bit tougher for him in there against Mariusz Wach, because Mariusz Wach's a very big, strong man, and he was trying to push Miller back. He was landing some decent shots here and there. So I just feel like the opponent was tougher than Gerald Washington. That's why he had a few more issues. But in terms of the things that Miller did, the combinations, the moves, all that kind of stuff, the punching, I felt like it was better. His speed, in my view, was better against Mariusz Wach than it was against Gerald Washington. Anyway, let me not get sidetracked here. Bottom line is, Miller against Whyte is a good fight. How do you think it would go? Has your view on it changed after watching their last 2 performances? Yeah, my personal view is I would favor Jarrell Miller in that fight. I think Jarrell Miller is better than a lot of people realize. I'm not saying he's going to conquer the division or anything, but yeah, I would pick him to beat Dillian Whyte. Yeah, based off their last performances especially. I think he's got good stamina, he's got a good work rate, he's got pretty quick hands. He isn't the biggest one-punch knockout artist or anything like that, but I think he does punch more correctly than Dillian Whyte does. Dillian Whyte can punch well sometimes, but other times he's very wild and sloppy. He's inconsistent when it comes to his punch technique. I think Dillian Whyte gets a bit too angry and a bit too worked up in the ring. And when he gets angry and worked up, it affects his technique. He becomes sloppy, he starts throwing wild shots. He needs to calm it down. When he's calm, that's when Dillian Whyte does better work. But when he's really angry and uptight and he's trying to prove himself, he ends up looking bad. So against Jarrell Miller, you have to imagine that Miller will get under his skin and Dillian Whyte might be a bit uptight. So yeah, I'll be picking Miller in the fight. But let me know what you think in the comment section below, people. It's happening, I'm out.